had a few people ask about my desk setup, so in this video I'm going to explain my workspace, how it's set up, and I'm going to go into my workflow as well, which is about to change. So this is a good point to document it, because in a month's time it will be completely different, and unfortunately it's going to cost me a bit of money. But there we go. So this is my desk in my office in the studio. My working from home setup, which is me Monday to Friday at the moment, I'm only in here at the weekends, is a laptop on a settee on a couch. There's no fancy desk at home. Our house is stacked full of junk. We're kleptomaniacs, and it's bad at home. But this is my oasis. Now, it all looks reasonably organised back here. This side of the room, however, is an absolute bomb site, so I'm waiting to get a bigger unit. And I've got my props down here. I've got books and paperwork stacked up behind. There's like slabs and tiles on the ground over here for shooting on. There's a sink down there, which is in the wrong location. The whole thing's a bomb site in here. But when I face this way, it's tranquil, it's peaceful, and it's got all my stuff going on. Now, starting with the desk, it's nothing fancy. This is the original desk. It's going to be changed once we get more space. This is just OSB wood. It was the cheapest wood we could buy. It's splinterful. It's cheap, it's ugly, but it was kind of trendy for a bit, so we went with it. It's just cheap stuff on some struts and then drilled into the wall. Very simple stuff. It's just, the reason we went for this rather than a real desk is so we get more depth to it. And I wanted more depth. Now, there's two other people who sit there. We've got some hot desk space as well. And all of this setup here is sort of, as with all of my stuff, subject to change depending on the job. So as you'll go around and you see all the computers and what they're doing, you'll notice that sometimes they'll be over here in the middle for a retoucher to be in. There might be a DIT person there just working on files and formats. Whatever it may be, this all gets broken down and moved around the whole desk. This is like a third of the desk, carries on all the way down there, some more computers. We sort of move it around depending on what the job is. And it's all portable, and nothing's fixed down really. So I'm going to go for a left to right sort of scenario and showing you what's on my desk, why I have it, and then at the end we're going to go through my workflow, my backup, and how we keep everything sane and somehow organised. So first off, over here is my Windows machine. This does very little. It is predominantly in case somebody needs to do something and they're used to Windows and have looked on a Mac, and I've got a freelancer in here. This is the sort of get out of jail free card should someone go, I just can't work Macs. Do you have a Windows machine? Yes, I do. Most of the time it's streaming my CCTV, and it's got my doorbell on it and all that sort of jazz. It just means I can see what's going on in the studio without moving. If someone rings the door, I know who it is. I don't want to answer the door for someone to go, do you know where Unit 2A is, when I'm Unit 2, which happens 10 times a day before this lockdown. So that saves me a lot of time, and that's more just like a monitoring the world sort of thing. Then the next item is this waiter spike. If you are self-employed, get one of these. You come in at the end of your shopping, you spike your receipts, and then when it comes to input time, they're all in chronological order on this. My girlfriend got me this. They're brilliant. I've sadly bent it and painted it a little bit, but it's a great tool nonetheless. Then hiding away at the back, I've got a picture that I need to hang up, which I'm trying to pretend isn't there. It's a 1986 bike race in a glass frame. I need to find a nice place to put it as a birthday gift for my partner, but I just haven't had the time to drill any more holes recently. Now, then we move on to my main area. This is my main computer. It's a MacBook Pro. I don't know what the spec is. It's got about 16 gig of RAM. I think it's got a quad core, something like that. It does the job for stills and editing YouTube bits like this. I don't color grade these. They're just chopped together and then rendered out. Behind that is the BenQ monitor. I'll pop a link in the description to this. It's about £600. It's like an entry-level editing monitor. I'm going to be buying some more of these. I want one on a dedicated tether trolley out there, and I want a second one in here as well. They're really good. I cannot recommend them enough. I know a lot of people slate them. I paid for this myself, and I'm really happy with it. It is a lot better for the money than others. Yes, if you spend 5 to 10 grand, you get a far better monitor, but I just don't care that much about monitors, so BenQ it is. Then I'm going to be doing a review on these soon. Now, these were given to me by BenQ. I've got a BenQ desk lamp, and I'll be honest, I got an email from them. I get quite a few emails going, do you want some stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I'll have some free stuff. Why not? Free stuff is great. So we've got these desk lamps. So they've sent me this little like laptop lamp. I had no idea what it was for. I'm going to do a review on it anyway. I just plugged them in and went, well, that's useless. But turns out they're not. I'll go through this in a separate video. I quite like it. That's my setup there. And this setup is my tethering computer as well. So this laptop will come out on location into the studio and we'll tether to this. And sometimes the editing monitor will come out. In a few weeks' time, I'll have a separate one so I don't need to do that. But that's my main machine. It goes home with me. It comes here with me. It is with me 24/7. It never leaves my side. I work to a LaCie drive, and we'll go into this more detail at the end, and then it all goes into my big ingestion system at the end of each day. But let's move on. Back yonder is my iMac. I have no idea what the spec is. It's pretty high spec. It was as high spec as we could get when we bought it. This doesn't get used for anything apart from watching vintage bike races and sometimes a 24/7 stream of a train going around in Sweden. But what it does do is that when I'm shooting out there on my main computer, this becomes the main computer in here. So if there's a retoucher, they will sit at this. I don't tend to like people using their own computers. I like to keep all my files on my own ingestion system if possible. It's not always plausible. Some people really dislike using your computer and like to use their own. But for me, it's great. It's a backup computer. It's a television most of the time. Does a good job. Now underneath here are two things. One is an iPad, and that is again used for CCTV, but it's also used for Capture Pilot with Capture One. For clients, I'm not paranoid with the CCTV. I just like to know where people are and what's going on. If I've got a rental in, if I've got people in doing work. I don't want to have to go, what was that massive bang? I can just look at that and go, oh, someone just dropped something, that's cool. It just makes life easier. We do have it all recording anyway, but that's more for insurance purposes than anything else, and to go with my whole security system, which does make me sound like I wear a tin hat, but I like to be safe. Now, the other machine over there is an iMac Mini, or a Mac Mini, I think they're called. I don't think they make them anymore. It is basically my backup device. It has about 45 terabytes of drives daisy-chained into it, and those drives mirror to a system called Backblaze, and that is my copy A and copy B of my work. Copy C is at home, and then my little orange drives you'll see me with, they're the ones that travel with me but get ingested to these devices once a day. This system will change. I'm going to go through the whole system later anyway, but it will change because, as you'll see from behind, there's a lot of cables, a lot of plugs, there's a whole heap of hard drives, and it's a nightmare. I've let it go too far, as I often do, and I need a new system, so we'll go into that in a bit. And back yonder over here, that is the screen for the iMac, and next to that is my lovely Pelican lamp, which I'm particularly fond of. It was a gift, again, for my birthday, and I quite like Pelicans, so winning all round. Now, bar a few ornaments that I have up there, I've got my granddad's coffee machine and his Biolati espresso pot, which used to go with me wherever I lived in the world. It now lives up there as sort of a, I don't know why. It's up there anyway. It's a pretty simple setup. I'm not big on computers. I'm not going to upgrade computers because something new comes out, much like with my cameras. Just because it's new doesn't mean I need it. So it's all pretty much bog standard stuff. The whole workspace is designed so that I can do everything without leaving my desk. I can answer the door without leaving my desk. I've got two-way intercoms on it. I can see what's going on in the office and in the studio without leaving my desk. I can do all my work. I've got my machines. I've got my backup. Everything is within the reach of this seat. And that's really important for me because I work mostly by myself. So if I'm not shooting, it's just me. And I need to be able to do everything as efficiently as possible. If I have to answer the door 5 times a day, that's probably half an hour of actual lost time explaining to someone where to go. Whereas this way I can just ignore them, which might seem rude, but I have to look after myself and my business and make sure we're still functioning. Now, when it comes to backing up and my actual workflow, as it were, let me try and explain to you how this goes. So let's take this particular shoot here, for example. Now, I don't actually back up my YouTube video footage because I have no use for it. But say this was a photo shoot. We'd shoot the camera. This camera follows this yellow cable here into this machine. This is my location machine as well as being here. This is what I ingest into. This would then be going on to my working drive, my Orange C drive, and this and my C drive back up to an independent Backblaze account. I'll pop a link to Backblaze down below. I'm not endorsed by them. They're just a really good system. When I've then done that, I take my card out and I ingest it into my Mac Mini, and that goes onto this weird array of cables and drives. This is sort of like my deep storage, as it were. This is where they stay, and they back up to a separate Backblaze account, 2 independent Backblaze accounts. So I buy one for each machine I have. And that's where they live. That's their archive. This archive is then duplicated at home with the Backblaze accounts where I've got original ingestion, which is backed up, location 1, location 2, and both of those. So one's physical, one's cloud, and at home, location 1, location 2. So I've got 3 copies, and when the work is finished, the stuff on the portable drive gets deleted. So I end up with 2 physical copies in 2 separate locations, and 2 cloud copies on 2 independent Backblaze accounts. They have different passwords, different email addresses. It's not like several accounts within one, it's just completely separate should anything horrendous happen. Now, this is not manageable. I've got drives and cables everywhere. I've actually got boxes of, the little hard drives which don't need power. It's like 30 of those sat in a box. So I'm going to have to buy some sort of huge unit with some sort of RAID system to go in here, which will back up to Backblaze. That will hopefully replace the Mac Mini. The Mac Mini will then be who knows what. So I'm going to need to buy some sort of RAID system, and I'm looking into this now. It's something I should have done a long time ago, but I'm tight. But I need to save more time. So the RAID system will sit here, and it will plug into my main computer when I'm here. At home, I'll continue to keep a separate off-site copy of everything. And that may be where the Mac Mini ends up. I might end up just buying some big 16 terabyte hard drive and uploading that. I probably can't justify buying 2 RAID systems. And then in here will be the RAID system, and it will it'll change in that sense. Now, I shoot Capture One, so I keep my catalogs all named. So I'll have 2020 as a big folder. Within there, there'll be videography, photography. I'll go into photography. Within photography, it'll just say the names of the shoot. And I can open up that catalog from wherever. All my machines have Capture One licenses. So it's nice and easy to do. I can go in there and it's all up to date. But I do think the RAID system going forward is just going to save me a lot of time, because I just have a lot of files, and they're really big files as well. The smallest camera that I shoot with professionally is 50 megapixels. And once you're doing TIFFs out of Photoshop with multiple layers, you're looking at 300 gigabyte. It is monstrous. Each shoot just eats data at the moment, so something has to change. So apart from getting the new RAID system, the other changes will be that the iMac is probably going to go and be replaced by another BenQ monitor. The iMac itself will be, in terms of computing power, be replaced probably by a Mac Pro, and it'll just slowly evolve. It's not something I'm going to do overnight, because it's like tens of thousands of pounds all in, but it's like a slow progression. You don't need to have everything perfect at once. And I think the other big thing to talk about here is tidiness and cleanliness. Now, cleanliness at the moment is very important, but tidiness, not so much. My partner reads this, I can't remember what it's called now. It's not Lulastic and the Hippie Shake, it's something else. She reads this magazine that gets sent in, and they talk about eating the frog, which is like the thing you really don't want to do, and how it's messy and how it's, I can't remember the entire point of the story she was going to go through, but the gist of it is this: if your workspace needs to be messy to do your work, let it be messy. Looking on Instagram and on Pinterest at these beautifully curated desks, mine is as tidy as it'll get right now, but when I'm deep in work, there'll be notebooks, there'll be pens, paper, 3 coffee cups. It just gets chaotic, and at the end of the day, I blitz it all and start again. Don't feel the pressure to have these beautifully curated workspaces with your nice little plant pot and your seamless lines and cable free. I've got cable monsters down there which will take years to untangle. Getting the work done is the priority. Efficiency, just getting it done. Don't worry about your online presence in these things. Desks can be messy. My desk is this big, so I can make more mess. If anything, once we get the new space, I'm going to be building a desk double the size of this entire thing down the storage wall. And that's just going to be a desk for creating, for building, for painting, drawing, whatever it is I need to do. That'll be the space. When I need to solder some kit together, I'll do it over there. And it'll just be a constantly in-use workspace. And for me, that's far more important than having the Pinterest perfect desk. I hope this was of interest. If you have any questions about my workspace, my workflow, drop it in the comments below, and I'll try and answer as quick as I can. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.